This is another song that I composed last year. It's called First Meditation.
Okay, brother?
Okay.
Give him some space, you guys.
You got it? Yeah. Okay.
Just get out of the way. Let's get out of the way. Yeah.
Yep.
Hope so big.
Let's see if they want to do that. Yeah, they just a little.
Fall down the stairs and need emergency help.
Is he okay?
Once you fall downstairs, you can go downstairs. It's at the General Gomez Center in downtown Auburn on Lincoln Way and Cherry, or Lincoln and Cleveland. Someone fell backwards down the stairs, and we're not moving him, but General Gomez Center. It's my name is Laura. The address is 308. What was it? Let's keep going.
Yeah. Come up.
How old is he?
He's
47. And he's awake and conscious? Yeah, he is. And there's a nurse with him, but he is awake and breathing, yes. Approximately 7 steps down. I believe he just misstepped. He was standing here and he misstepped. Is there any bleeding? No bleeding.
Went downstairs and slipped and fell.
Is he responding normally? I can't see. He's conscious and he did leave.
She let down.
Yeah. Okay.
No, okay.
Jesus,
I
Mary
think
and Joseph. Okay,
be
nobody,
up off the
nobody move him. Nobody move him. They're on their way. Okay. All right.
Okay, everybody should be up off the stairs, except for if they're doing medical. You're okay, yeah. I don't want anyone else. Do you have enough?
I think it's cherry. 4 o'clock. Yes.
So they're on their way. Don't move them. Keep them warm. Yeah, that's good.
I said I could remind her to bring her in, so I would send her down. By the way, beside her, I need to get everybody in the Thursday. I'm going to. That's Rita. She's with me. It's okay. Yes, definitely. So many ways.
We're not going over there, sweetheart.
I have to say, it's a great dancing. I mean, I don't mind going in and out of the lunch. Went down there, the road's open. So right up Yes. What about
Is he going up or going down?
We'll continue to more healing music. And, we'll just continue. They're on the way. Want to make sure coming from that way.
It's all good.
Thank you for standing by. We're waiting for the ambulance. We will continue the program. We're going to have some healing music, just a little bit more music go on, and then once we know that radio is taken care of, we will continue the program. So thank you and send all your good vibes and prayers.
They're here. Everybody's gonna have to move.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Call 911, just
Okay.
so you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can do that.
Are you family, friend? Wife? What's his first name? Okay. Last name? And how old is he? What's his date of birth? 5/7. Sorry, what year? 76. What's a good address for you guys? What? That's fine. What's a good phone number? That's right. On the backside.
Can you show me? Just drive around. I'm sorry, I'll give you mine. So it's
6105. That's 599.
Yes.
In that
It's
See?
usually downstairs. He
Sure.
hit his head.
and
He
her
was
success, yeah, and then
and so I have this kind of responsive,
but right
but
here in that area.
going in and out of like
Okay. Does he have any medical history? Is he taking any medications currently?
no, just pain promotion, like,
Okay. And is he allergic to any medications that you know of?
no.
And then where's he typically see them as far as dogs?
So you see David.
Yo. All right. So more than likely, since
I think we're okay.
She was going to go to Oscar.
You can go down for that go around. That's
so
So
typically,
we
what
have,
would happen
Isabella and Cynthia, they will do the land acknowledgement and a blessing for the event, which, and for everything that's going on for the news.
So yeah, right at the top of the all the way down. Like
So
we bump
the
our head and then
unexpected
all the way
is
down
a,
on the
is a
back,
natural
and
part
sliding.
of things we have to trust, and we have to not lose our momentum. Nothing will set us back from our goal to move forward. What I ask you to do is please stand, please give full attention to the voice of the young, and let's go.
It was a really hard one because
So I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that we
Sure.
are on Lutheran land
kind
as
of
of right now.
obviously caught him off guard as well. Yeah.
Just,
Stairs just with paint.
just so everyone is
Yeah.
informed
and
of
stuff. I
where
can
we
see
are
how
right now.
Yes,
easily
and
just
he's
kind
And
of
just to remind people
sneakers
that
don't have.
the Nisenan and of course the other tribes are still very much alive still, and so is their culture, and just becoming aware is the goal right now. And yeah, so feeling vibes, all the good vibes. Thank you for your support.
That you guys are in our net.
So it's the Sutter system, Sutter Auburn Bay, if that's what you're referring to as far as the hospital goes.
Yeah, the hospital. Check our insurance.
Sure.
Quick.
So as one of the elder indigenous statesmen of
Yeah,
the
it's probably
social
not a question
justice
that I can
movement,
answer or not.
I would like to call us to full attention
Sutter Auburn
in
Bay.
the ancient spirit.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
like you
Sutter,
do.
Roseville, Sutter Auburn, Sutter.
Feel the
you know,
warmth
Sac.
of the room,
Yeah.
So I
I
would
know there's
imagine
lots of
that.
stuff.
feel the
Yeah,
love
and they're all
of the
tied together.
room spread around. Bring awareness, relax a little bit, reach out to your neighbor. The unexpected is always a part of our lives. This is where our trust and our faith, how can we help one another? We're moving forward in spite of all circumstances and in spite of all of us. We are moving forward to Dr. King's dream. So let's give our attention to that, and as we begin, I would like to say that I want to welcome all the indigenous people and thank you for being here. It's been lonely out there for decades now. Just to see more people are coming out and that we are being recognized. So in the spirit of the ancient traditions, let us begin. This is a beginning of a long legacy, of which today we honor Dr. Martin Luther King, his legacy. So you open up your hands, be willing, be open-hearted, open-minded. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit because this is going on. Warm up your hands, warm up your heart, fire the mind. When blessings, good thoughts, good feelings, prayers, good affirmations, when goodness rises up
Okay.
in gratitude and
Yeah.
thankfulness,
No, yeah.
in
We're in
clarity,
Sacramento anyway. That's where we live.
that
So
we are a part of something far greater than any of us. And that we must be connected to all the great things around us.
Medical center?
When we lift up,
Okay.
prayers go up,
I know.
blessings come down,
Yes.
and they circle around all of our lives. These are not just words. This is not just a hope. This is not just a show or another campaign. Let's make a difference. Now, and we do that individually. Dr. King spoke of a beloved community. A community not born out of blood, but out of love. Righteousness, sacrifice, and moving forward. And somebody asked those kids to be quiet. So as our situation here completes itself, let's have silence and pure on behalf of the ancient, indigenous, native, Indian legacy. I welcome you to America. If you or your family, your group, you have never been welcome onto this land, I welcome you to live with us equally upon this land and to share this land. Not as masters, not in a supremacist sense of ownership, but equality among all brothers and sisters and family upon this earth. Not only the human beings tend to forget and they're bigger than everything else. We're connected to all of these things. So let us begin. Now, as we are, as vocal as we are in the streets, let's keep this attention here. This is how we move forward.
Thank you, Sam. So, but I don't think I'm gonna get through this without cheers. So just hang in there. So, so radio was the host of the event. Rocky and I will be working on that. I do want to say some really kind words. Really, everyone who came together to this event to be a part of it. It's just incredible human beings, and I feel very lucky to be surrounded by people like that in radio. Just the same, he's a very talented, caring individual. So send him all your love, and we're going to have a beautiful program still. Again, cheers will happen, so that's okay. Oh, Rocky, are you ready for the let me get my glasses off. All right. Yes. So actually, I can introduce this. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. I think a lot of our mentor, Millie Livingston, is actually the one who brought the Martin Luther King Day to Auburn in 1984. She moved here and she was looking for an event, and there was no event. So she brought a couple friends to the courthouse with some signs, and then connected with the local church. I do believe it was this year, Foothills Unitarian Universalists, and they partnered for years to continue Auburn's Martin Luther King events. And then I think about 7 years ago, she passed that torch to us, along with Growing Peace Camp, which has been around just as long. And Millie passed away in September, so this is the first event that we've done without her. And it's been quite an experience, and honestly, I feel like she's been here with us because most things, except for what just happened now, have been going very smooth and things came together in such a beautiful way. And so we put together a little tribute. So if you didn't know Millie, you could get to know Millie a little more, and we're going to share that with you when our technical situation is ready. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Hey.
Thank you, Natalie.
So do you have any questions for me or Peace Camp or anything?
Well, I don't have a question, but I want to give you hope that there can be a peaceful world. And it's going to leave it up to you and the younger generation to make sure that happens. So you got a lot of work to do.
I'd like to invite us all to put our hearts and our minds together in the memory of Millie. If we're real believers, then we know that we don't really go anywhere, and Millie is still with us, and so I would like us all to, I invite you to have that attitude. And, Millie was a person, an influencer. She was not a person who would demand things of people, but she would remind us of things. I've known Millie over 40 years. We were in the early organizational gatherings in Auburn, and we began to recognize each other, support one another. Auburn was a very different place then than it is now. But Millie brought ideas, and Millie established her ideas. She manifested her ideas. She was not just a talker, but she made things happen. She would inspire us. She would help to organize us. She would see it through. And most importantly, I think, she established an annual order that things would live in legacy beyond herself. Today is proof of that legacy. while she's not here with us in the physical, she is with us in her legacy. And that legacy is going to outlive all of us. And if we learn anything from Millie, if we were inspired by Millie, then let's carry those values, those principles, and those skills forward. Then let's live for her. And we will carry on her legacy and to ensure that it is a better world that she envisioned.
Hi, I just want to share some wonderful things about my dear friend Millie Livingston. She taught me so much. She taught everybody in this community so much. She was such a passionate person about peace and equality and justice and love and education. And she spread those seeds everywhere she went with people she worked with. And I've known her for 20 years. She lived in my house the last 6 years of her life, and we were just dear, dear friends. And she would always tell me how when she first moved to Auburn, she went looking for a Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, and nobody was doing anything. So Millie made some signs and went with a couple of her friends and went to the city hall and stood there with her signs out so people could see them when they were driving by. And she would always tell me that was something that was important for her to do. And over the years, the Martin Luther King celebration just grew and developed and became a community event in Auburn. And Millie was the kind of person who would get everybody involved in things. She walked the walk and talked the talk. She didn't just come up with ideas and then leave you to implement them. She was very much involved in all of that, and she would drag me into all kinds of things with her, whether it was Peace Camp, Martin Luther King, doing plays, helping her produce plays, all kinds of things. And they were all around the issues of peace and social justice and economic equality. Those are things that were so important to her and children. And I'm just excited that we are honoring her today after her passing in September, because I believe it's just a thing to do that she would want to do, whether she's looking down on us or not looking down on us, whatever she's doing or wherever she may be, that we honor Millie and thank her for the person she was, what she's given to all of us as a friend, as a colleague, as an activist. And I'm just so glad that we are making this time for her today to honor her. Thank you, Millie.
You only have to meet Millie once. You're affected by her light, her love, inspired by her heart, selflessness. Wonderful, amazing human beings that lives on through our actions, through our dedication, through our kindness, through our peace. Love you, Millie.
Millie Livingston dedicated her life to activism in all the best ways. She stayed connected with people who were passionate no matter where she went. She organized programs and events and celebrations to raise awareness and bring activism to small towns like our own. She never stopped being loud about injustice. And most importantly, she made sure that her legacy would live on through Martin Luther King Day in Auburn, California, Peace Camp, and the impact that she had on all of our lives. I will be forever grateful for her contribution to paving the way for my life today and the future of activism. Thank you, Millie.
Millie was such a force in our community and has impacted so many lives through her efforts and just the way that she's dedicated herself to people, to our community, and especially our young people. And we're so grateful we got to spend the time we did and learn from her and follow in her footsteps and her leadership in peace and justice. Thank you, Millie. We love you.
Millie's legacy went far beyond bringing Martin Luther King Day to Auburn, which in itself was a beautiful thing. She really left her mark on her community, whatever that was, wherever she lived. Left her mark on
the youth and really just all generations and her legacy. You know, it's a hard act to follow, but we are dedicated to keeping that alive and keeping some of the projects and things she was most passionate about going as long as we're able, and hopefully we can pass it on to the next generation. Thank you, Millie, for everything. We love you.
Hi, boys and girls. You having fun? All this is my fault. I want you all to know how happy I am to see you, and to know that you will take shots for the rest of your life for a good experience. Because it's up to you. For the next generation that's going to come and make this world with justice and freedom for everyone. Great time. Love you.
Thank you, Miss Millie. Meet Mary. Oh, thank you, Miss Millie.
When I first was, Danielle told me, you have to be there because we're giving you an award. I said, well, I'm going to be there anyway, so whatever.
So beautiful job, Rocky. You know, continue- look back on. The next people I'd like to introduce to you are really special to us as well. And I have to say, Aunt Maggie and Grandma Betty, I'm sorry. Usually Aunt Maggie and Grandma Betty, so come on. It's Maggie Steele and Betty Castillo, but their families. So incredible humans and mentors, and just they're working in the juvenile halls and the prisons all around California or beyond. Amazing storytellers, musicians, and just the best people you'll ever meet. So they're going to do a little bit of music for you guys, and give them a warm welcome.
You know, whenever we're anywhere, we're only there once. You're like, oh, well, whatever, I wake up every day in my house. But every day it's a new day, right? And today, we will only spend this day, this time, only once. It's our crossroads. We're in the middle of that cross. We came up the mountain or down the mountain. And we're watching that, and I was like, oh, that's a great role model for my mom. Like, Mom, you can live to be 92 and party like Billy with that big, beautiful smile. Because we only get one tiny life, Mom. And it's so short. And imagine, like, look at the beings here made of a mighty tree. And that tree would laugh at us and go, oh, you humans. Your life is so short. My life is so much longer, and I'll become a being of this place. And I was thinking today, my kids and my husband didn't come because they were sleeping. I was like, I wanted to tell them, I go, oh, you know, You even exist, my kids exist because of Martin Luther King. My children exist because of that. Because I married a white man. And if things hadn't changed, I wouldn't have been able to do that, or my kids wouldn't have been able to be free or be accepted. Am I right? I'm right. And my mom, my precious mom, my creator, but I saw Eddie's son, and I saw, Eddie's son just keeps growing and growing, right? And mom, my creator, who had a very hard life, a very hard life. I'm so happy. She made my life so easy. I didn't have to pick potatoes on my hands and knees. I didn't have to wrap grapevines. I didn't have to live in a world that said, dogs, Native Americans, Mexicans, and blacks can go here, right? My mom, Martin Luther King. And a couple times I was supposed to come, but I'm far and sick and COVID. And anyway, today is our day to be here today to honor me, to honor all of our lives. Look at how quick and fragile life is, because we've seen the fire truck here. And I've seen those young, handsome firemen walk up the stairs. I was looking. And I was thinking how quick life could change on 1 second. 1 second. So we come through time and space. And you bring your generational ancestors and everyone you love here stage for this moment in time. And maybe this moment will give us medicine, good vibes, good energy to propel ourselves into our future destiny, which is to disappear into infinity and home. Because our lives are just so short, but so precious. And when we hurt, when we mourn, when we grieve, it makes us sacred. Because it teaches us how beautiful life is. And we're not supposed to be grieving all our lives. We're supposed to move on. And we're not supposed to be all happy-go-lucky. That's an American myth. Life is hard, but it's beautiful in all its beauty. So me and moms, we're gonna sing. We do not sing like Shakira, Rihanna, Beyonce. But we sure look like them. With more clothes. And look, this is my little solstice drum I made during the solstice. It's been repurposed because my friend took it to Scotland and it came back and it had to be redone. And why I'm telling you that is me and you are from the earth, part of the earth. We are this special little place. It's like the crossroads of the universe, huh? Because there ain't no planets like us. And I don't know what Elon thinks, but he can go to Mars. There ain't no water, there ain't no oxygen. Hello? Are we gonna try to live over there? No. This is where we live, this is where we're from. No matter what happens with global warming or anything, what did the dinosaurs teach us? Keep living. Because the dinosaurs are the birds. And now they fly. Live. So. Way may mine be still, so happy, and it's everlasting life within. Way up. that sound is for when you have high anxiety. And it's about calming your soul, calming your mind. And how me and you, we are a part of infinity. 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 So, beautiful day.
All right, peace, everyone. I'm not used to microphones with on and off switches. Thank you, everyone. I needed that laugh. Thank you so much, and thank you for the smiles, you guys' patience, and all the just love I felt and concern. So thank you guys, and I'll let you guys know if I hear any updates and as soon as I hear that he's okay. He was conscious though, coming to and making sense of everything. So I'm just hoping for the best and sending good vibes and good prayers to Radio, MC Radio, Woodrow. If any of you guys want to send prayers out too. I'm sure it was already said, but I was down there, so I'll say it one more time because it's important. Also important, I'm very excited for this next guest of ours. We wanted to have him come share and be a keynote for quite some years now, but he's always very involved in the Sacramento community, doing amazing work in general, but also a co-chair of the Sacramento Poor People's Campaign and one of the regional committee chairs as well, if I understand correctly. So we are very excited to have him and come share his work, share his testimony. I'm excited for you all to meet him, and he'll probably share this with you as well. But part of the goal of today is moving from our words and continuing with action and keeping these legacies alive through continuing the work and remembering why it's so important. So we're gonna have time afterwards to do that. So if you have any questions or things that come up, please hold them, and we'll be able to talk more about the Third Reconstruction, the Poor People's Campaign, starting a possible chapter out here in Auburn and Placer County, and then also just really what California is working on with the equity gap. I'm very excited to introduce you all to Brother Carter again.
Thank you, Rocky and Natalie, and I want to just give acknowledgments to Brother Radio. Let's keep him in prayer. When things like that happen, we want to make sure that that person is all right. We want to make sure that, that nothing truly bad has happened to him, and that we want him to heal right away. In saying that, I get a little emotional when I come up here to speak about Dr. King and the day itself that represents him and his work. As I see as a prophetic preacher and also a great humanitarian who gave his life and stayed obedient to the master of his faith. I'm going to say that again. He stayed obedient to the master of his faith. And that would allow him to speak to people from all different walks of life, different sizes, shapes, and colors, nationalities, and cultures, to send forth the message that we are all tied together in one garment of destiny. We celebrate that today, that destiny. When we come together, it's not about the mourning of how he lost his life, it's how he lived his life, what he gave unconditionally, what he stood for, and would not back off of it. And I truly believe that's in all of us today. As you see, as we look around our government and how things are taking place in our society, we have the same things that he had to orchestrate and illustrate around. When we talk about hatred, racism, classism, all of these things that led us into polityism, because that's what that is. So I was looking through the book of The Garment of Destiny, and I saw where he was talking about the octopus of poverty. And that fits today when we talk about folks that are living in poverty. When we see those that are out on the streets today that are unhoused and yearning for someone to save them from this lonely island of poverty, reach out and say that there is solutions and there is somebody working on those solutions. But what Dr. King was saying about the octopus, it has so many hands on not stopping poverty, creating policies for those that are more wealthy than those that struggle. The octopus continues to reach out to our higher allegiance and create a hell for the poor. When we see the war economy, our military, and don't get me wrong about a patriotic view and the same view that Dr. King had. He saw more things happening through foreign policy if we just had the conversation with the different countries to where we can agree on lifting people out of poverty and not creating more weapons of war. If we could take care of the soldier and his family instead of buying more and more weapons from the contractor so that he becomes a multimillionaire and continues to make more and more of these things that are of destruction. One of the things that I understand about the work of Dr. King is that he demanded that we love one another. That demand was not a botched love. It was an unconditional love that he knew that we all could share. He knew it was more powerful than hate. But it was up to us to get there. And since his death, we have gotten there in a small quorum of people. And I believe the reason why we have gotten there is because we understand his work, his purpose, his will, his sacrifice. I don't think that we will ever see another Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King in our lifetime. But one of the things we can do is be that. Be that wholesome spirit. Be that wholesome human being to carry out good over evil, love over hate. It's very important, especially in this time, because we have love on the front line. And love on the front line is a dangerous way to live. If we don't, come to the solutions that bring us together. It can't be about materialism because that leads to militarism and povertyism of these things that he saw. It has to be up to us to see one another. And I always say that we all share the same guarantee. And that guarantee is that one day we're going to leave this earth. But the thing is, what will you do to make a difference? Not just in your life, but somebody else's life before you leave. And in those thoughts, that's what brought me to be an advocate, to fall in love with the struggle as an advocate, growing up in a community that struggled, but seeing the bigger picture of that struggle to say, now that Dr. King is gone, who's going to be next? And a power greater than me said, you and many others. I'm going to lead you to that path, but I'm going to give you someone in remembrance so that you could follow his work, his philosophies, all of the things that matter in people's lives, unconditionally, without prejudice, with an unconditional love, to embrace, to fulfill, to create a moral fusion of folks coming together as one. So this is what this day is about. How do we get to destiny in destiny's garment? As we see so much that is going on today in our politics. But one of the things that I want to say, it's not about the left, it's not about the right. It's about right and wrong. And we have to be the ones to make it that. No more promises and wooden nickels from the politicians. We have to create our own demands. We have to take back our votes and use them wisely so that it benefits everybody, not just a few. And that's what Dr. King was saying. We have to cut off the arms of the octopus so that we all are able to live with decency and dignity. And those that we see out on the streets today that are suffering through mental illness, deep poverty, with nothing of solution, is wrong and is a threat to humanities. And we have to be the one to call that out. When we see the obscene amounts of wealth that are going to corporations and nothing comes back to us in wages, healthcare, or any of the things that help us in the area of social justice. That means that we are becoming a social death. If there's more billionaires that are being made, and here we are with more people on Main Street suffering, we have a big problem. And I believe this is what Dr. King was trying to tell us and warn us about. In 2015, I had a conversation with his daughter, Dr. Bernice King, here in Sacramento. In my community, we have a building called the No Youth Left Behind Center. And at that time, she came to Sacramento in 2015. We had a discussion about her father. And one of the things she said, the reason why my father was assassinated by the government is because he was connecting the dots with people to empower them. But she said one of the things that you can continue to do, Brother Carter, is speak truth to power in knowing why my father was assassinated. But not only that, you live in Sacramento that has the only cornerstone in the nation. And I had pointed that out to her because in my community of Oak Park, on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, there's only one 15th Avenue in the whole United States of America. But there's only one 15th period in Martin Luther King. Not a street, not a boulevard, or any of that. And that brought a chill to her. And she said, Brother Carter, here in Sacramento, you guys have the cornerstone of my father. And that's why it's so important for us in the state of California, because it's the richest growing, fastest state in the United States of America, which is just now coming forth in the world economy. And when we talk about the world economy, we talk about gross domestic product. And one of the things that Dr. King was illustrating during the Poor People's Campaign was to say, all of us, we share in gross domestic product. We share in the basic needs of gross domestic products. So it has to be a give and take. As we see now in our fight, we're study asking for $15 an hour, or $20 an hour, but every time we ask for something, they continue to hire the bar, right? So what we have to do is rethink what Dr. King said at that time and what the last part of what he was fighting for. Sharing in gross domestic product. It will give us the health care we want. It will give us the wages that we're looking for. Because each time that these major corporations would profit, we would share in that. We would share in it, but we're not sharing in it. They're creating more and more policies to where we become the slaves. And remember one of the things that Dr. King said, before I be a slave to this system, I'll be buried in my grave. And so we have to rethink about the things that he was saying, for our lives. If you haven't found anything to die for, then you're not fit to live. Is your future worth dying for? Is it worth fighting for? Is it worth standing in the gaps to make change? That's what he is saying to us today. Because right now, we, the people, the purpose, the promise, are losing our democracy day by day. National extremism, religious extremism, major corporations that are refusing to pay taxes or find a way to get around it. Taxation without, without the emancipation of this nation is wrong. That's what makes this nation emancipate within itself. In this conversation that I'm having with you about Dr. King, I say these things thoroughly because I'm in a campaign that he started. It came to us in 2017 of the 50th anniversary. We had already started a Poor People's Campaign in Sacramento, and it birthed out of the Occupy movement, which was Occupy the Dream, stopping the banks, not allowing the banks to be bailed out. And once the banks were bailed out, let us all remember that no one on the left or the right negotiated anything for us. So today, this is why we have what we have. This is a shame that we have 140 million people since 1968 to 2017, 140 million people living in poverty in the United States. That is a shame. And then we have politicians in Washington, D.C. that say, when you ask them the question, because I've been there, when we ask them, how many people do you think live in poverty? It's all probably 20,000, 30,000. They are so far off. 140 million people, 1.2 million indigenous and Native American, 8 million Pacific Islanders and Asians, 45 million Latino, 35 million Latino, 45 million African American, and 66 plus white Americans. Now, as we moved up to the pandemic, since COVID, another 9 million has fallen into poverty. Now, when that 9 million fell into poverty, the ones that are already in poverty went to deep poverty. So you see, we have a problem here that we have to change. And if we don't do it now, then it's not going to get done. And that's why it's so important each time that we come to this day of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King to celebrate his life, let's not just celebrate. Let's do the work that he did for us all to come together and make a change in our nation. When he talked about the revolution of value, he was talking about us. He was talking about you and me, how we take care of our families, how we have a nest egg of safety in the bank. We have to stand up. If we do not stand up, then we fall. So I just wanted to come and share this with you on this day, a strong message, a very strong message, but also a message to where work is being done right now in our national campaign, which we'll talk about later. And that is closing the wealth gap in the richest growing fastest state in the nation, California, that has just turned fourth in the world economy. We need that. And not only that, we have the third reconstruction of demands because we are in the third reconstruction. Dr. King did the work in the second reconstruction after we went through the first reconstruction of the Civil War. And then we came to a social justice movement, civil rights. But now this one here, the third reconstruction, it's not about civil rights. It's about human rights. And it's about us. How do we close the gap for humanities to survive upon this earth? The different sizes, shapes, and colors and nationalities that are in this room right now. I love you. I embrace you. I ask that you continue to embrace the work of Dr. King and continue to support each other because we are the people, we are the purpose, and we hold the promise. Thank you.
We're going to attempt something here, and I'm putting my trust in you. We're going to do a little sing-along. I'll probably have everybody stand up. Do you want me to put the YouTube on in the background kind of low, or do you have to do that? Okay. So if you know the song, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. sing along. It's pretty easy because they repeat. I do have a story on where Vanessa is, but she did sing this in her kindergarten class. So we're gonna I'll turn it on just slow, and please stand up and join us. I love this song. Please love this song.
Yeah, and that's one of, like I said, that's one of the old hymns. We still sing that now in our campaign. So we could just start playing with it. I'm gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around. Turn me around. Turn me around. I'm not gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking. Keep on talking. Marching down Freedom Road. No, I'll do it. Do better. You got the grade? Yeah. Okay, it's just like the march, you guys. You know, my altos and sopranos. Are you out there? You guys ready? All right, here we go. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around. Turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down Freedom Way. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down Freedom. Marching, I'm sorry. We'll let no government turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no government turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching down Freedom Road. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody, please put your hands together one more time for Brother Carter.
So, it's been beautiful so far. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. We have one last part of the program, and pretty exciting to me. But we have some community voices, some people who've been doing the work right here in our local community, and then I have some of my students who I'm so proud of that have put some speeches together. They've been studying civil rights for, I don't know, a few months right now. They do go to school with me, so here we are. So I do want to introduce the first speaker if she's ready. Are you ready? Yeah, good. Okay, so Isabella, please come up. Bella, we call her Bella. She's a photographer, so perfect. And Bella, I'm just so proud of Bella. Bella actually is graduated. She's going to Sierra College right now. She's just incredible. She's going to talk about Women on Her Legacy. And thank you, Bella. Yeah, go Bella. Again, I apologize. Just a little teensy bit sick. But I'm gonna do a little spiel on legacies. That stuff's important, you know. Okay. So thank you all for coming, and I just want to say that it's really cool that we're able to honor both MLK and Millie because she's such a lovely lady. Like she's always so nice to me, and just like she's always just such a warm, loving person. So yeah. Okay. I believe that legacies are used as guidance and motivation when it comes to making change in our society. Legacies help us understand why some things are the way they are now and hold knowledge of how that happened exactly. We can use this knowledge to give us ideas of how to move forward and what to avoid.
They can be reminders as to why people are still currently fighting for change. What it means for future generations to learn about those who fought for justice in the past is to understand what the needs were at that point in history and what it took to meet that need. Teaching people, especially future generations, about those who fought for justice in the past is important so they can understand why some people do the same thing right now. It's an attempt to make sure history doesn't repeat itself while also trying to better the future for those same future generations. We learn about history in general for the same reason. So, for example, I know that the legacies in my family act as motivation for us to keep learning about our history so it doesn't repeat itself, and also honoring the sacrifices our ancestors made to keep our people and culture alive. And although we can't rewrite history and undo all the bad, the next best thing we could do is prevent it from happening again. And hey, maybe we'll be mentioned in like textbooks in a few decades or so. So there's that. Let's see. So as we honor legacies today, we honor the work people have fought and sometimes even died for. We acknowledge the struggle and dedication and appreciate what they've done to improve our lives. So take a moment to think about what legacies you want to honor and work for. And it can be an opportunity to work with others who share the same dream. Thank you. I'm going to introduce Alma because she's such a lovely lady. I'm not sure what she's talking about, but she's awesome.
Hi everyone. And I definitely need a timekeeper. Just don't let me go over time. So happy to be here today with all of you. I am Alma Caravarin. I am the community organizer for the immigration program for Placer People of Faith Together, which is a local nonprofit. Really, that sounds fancy, but we are more directly and more really like a network of different groups in churches, about 20 right now throughout the community, through the whole county. Churches, congregations, and it is an interfaith group at large that organizes itself in different groups based on interest, but with the foundational belief, right, that comes from understanding that regardless of what religion or faith tradition we believe in or live by, that there is points of unity, right, commonality in the values and the beliefs that sometimes come from our faith, and the point and the purpose is to live out our faith values in a way that will serve the community at large. The larger goals obviously are something that we are all kind of already here connected to. I believe that if you make it to an MLK celebration day, there is already like this commonality of understanding about what are some of the things in life that are important, and that action is important, which is one of the things that Plaza People of Faith Together focuses on is how do we utilize our talents, our resources, the things that we as ordinary people already have within ourselves, right? Like if you're really good at researching, if you're really like because you love reading, you're a nerd, and then you like to talk about it all the time to someone, which is one of the things that I have going on. Or if you are very good at just putting, projects together, coordinating, if you know how to do flyers, whatever those talents or those things and skills that you have are of value, and if you're connecting them to your principles, the people everywhere deserve, dignity, and that we can talk amongst ourselves. And once we come to an understanding of what things are dear and near to our community and urgent needs for our friends and families, we can do something. So the campaigns that we have going on at Plaza People Faith Together currently are issues focusing on issues of housing affordability and homelessness. And I believe there is folks here from SFUU, and Reverend Alex is really one of the really important leaders that fuels that. Really briefly, to just do a quick update on that campaign. As you all know, this is actually something that we've been focusing on here in Auburn, because by the DeWitt Center, there used to be a camp with a lot of our brothers, unhoused brothers and sisters had been over time being pushed to by, different county government like officials, namely the police, in enforcing some ordinances or laws, whether correctly or incorrectly. But now, after some time, the county decided that that camp grew too big, and they were trying to implement some policies at the county level to make it so they could only be at these camps between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. or something ridiculous like that. With disabled people, elder people, and also people who have mobility issues, it was going to be something extremely burdensome on top of what was already, this severe poverty and different difficulties that folks have to face when they're having no shelter. So there's the committee, there's a group of folks from different congregations that got together and started talking to, visiting the camp, hearing more of the stories and the needs of the campers, and then brought it to have that dialogue and to really press on county supervisors. And that struggle continues here in our community here in Auburn. So I want to invite you all to later on, if you have any questions, I can connect you to the folks that are more involved in that. As I mentioned, the program that I work with the most is the immigration equity. So it's immigration's rights program. And really what that means is, how do we include the folks that are typically assumed to be like non-existent in Placer County? Immigrant, undocumented folks, asylum seekers, folks who are coming from all different parts of the world, but also different parts of the state and different parts of California, to this place, Placer County, and how do we make sure that we don't leave out the needs that these families have, in order to make sure that everybody actually gets a piece of the pie of the wealth that exists in Placer County, since Placer County specifically has been named in the whole country as one of the best places to live because there's supposed to be so much wealth here, right? And I think that that connection is really something that reflects the United States at large, that there is this notion that there is no poor people, that we continue to believe that there is no poor people or folks who are not as struggling, or if they do, it's just a small number and it's like their fault. They must be doing something wrong and they might not really have enough, energy or desire to want to get themselves through that. Where there's in reality a lot of different rules that are laws that prevent people from being able to do the same things as everyone else would. Namely, when folks are undocumented, which is a community that is really a huge part of my identity. I was here for a long time as an undocumented young person, and it was in a lot of ways really traumatizing to feel so isolated in the county, because I thought that the moment that a police officer or anyone else looked me in the eye, that they would know that I didn't belong here. And as a young person, that was really something that like kept me away from connecting with folks, or even living out what I thought I could be, and really discouraged me from attempting to get into careers or things that would have really put my talents to use. Over time, I've come to realize that there is a lot of allies. There's a lot of folks that don't necessarily believe that just because someone is here with or without a legal document that they don't belong here. And that's really why I'm like, this place is medicine, as our sister was sharing earlier, because it continues to remind each other, and that's why it's important that we actually physically take a space. It continues to remind people like me and each other that we have support, and then reconfiguring those resources that we have can create something really powerful. Plus, the people fit together has been part of that statewide efforts in order to make sure that people who have the need, right, because we are low income or whatever situations are specific to our households, but we are poor people, we can still access services like medical, even if we don't have documentation or legal paper to be here, because the fact is that health is a human thing, right? And in order to be able to receive care for that, which everybody deserves, we cannot let something such as legislation saying, well, you have to be a citizen in this country, you have to be a resident in order to be able to take care for your body and your mental health and of your and your children. And so As part of the efforts, there's a lot of updates at the state level. Thankfully, in California, there has been some movement to be able to include in healthcare for all, and food for all. So efforts to make sure that the safety net programs are actually accessible to undocumented and mixed status families in our state. And so California now will allow us next year we'll start working on the implementation so that everybody, regardless of legal status, can actually apply for medical and receive medical services. And at the local level in the county, what we're going to be doing is making sure that the folks who are supposed to be doing this outreach and this work actually get the word out, actually let people know that this exists, because there is so much confusion. Sometimes it's difficult to trust what information is correct and what information is not. And we're going to be working on that campaign to make sure that the folks are included. One of the things that we have been doing that I'm super happy to share is something in similarity to what we're doing here, which is just bringing folks together. As you know, with the pandemic, there's a lot of congregations that closed down, and so we started thinking, how do we reconnect the community in ways that are healing and that actually are supportive of what we need right now. And knowing that we need social connection, we had the opportunity to start creating fun events, culturally celebrating events for Latino immigrant families. And I'm so happy to share with you all that in creating some events with fun, with that focus on joy, that focus on not healing, and just the ability to be and see each other and see that we're not alone. In Roseville, the First United Methodist Church of Roseville has over the last year, so the cycle of December to December, we had about 300 people come to the different events that we had. That included the first and really huge Dia de los Muertos celebration in Roseville. We also celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month, and inviting and celebrating immigrants in Placer County, which is honestly for me something that along my journey just seemed like, how could that ever happen? And then I'm here with my community creating that. So it's been really nurturing and healing, and we're hoping to start doing some more of that through the different cities, including Auburn, and in partnership with Natalie, Rocky, and all of you. I'm hoping that you would be part of that. So thank you all for being here and giving me some medicine too.
Alma is just obviously a wealth of information. If you do need to get a hold of Alma with questions, she's very, very knowledgeable and can put you in the right direction. But if you don't remember Placer People of Faith Together, you can reach out to me and I can connect you. And we're with Auburn Hip Hop Congress. So if you don't remember that, get my number before you leave. So our next speaker is another one of my students. Come on up, Felix. So we talked about walking the talk, and Felix is going to talk about moving from talk to action. And I cannot suggest a better person to do so. And Malcolm loves Felix, so I think you will all love Felix. Yeah. Okay, so Felix.
Good morning, everybody. If you could not tell by the absolutely bright neon red hair that I have, I am in fact the one and only Felix here. Yeah. And today I am here to talk to you guys about making change and taking the talk into action, walking the walk, talking the talk. You know how it goes. Okay. So when we talk about making change, the only way we can start to do the change is by talking about the problem we have. So let's say, for example, there is a minimum wage problem. We're being paid too little, $12.03 an hour, or whatever minimum wage may be right now. We talk about it, and then instead of letting it fester and sit there, we have to get up and do something. And that's the thing that everyone's afraid to do. People think that they can't make change because they're one small person and they don't have money or something, which I'm going to tell you right now, none of that's true. Don't believe it. If you're alone, in a duo, in a group, big community, I don't care how many people you have, no no matter how much money you make or how much money you have, you can make a change. An example of how you can make change with this kind of thing is volunteer work. I've been volunteering with Auburn Hip Hop Congress, Kappa Gaps, with my lovely school here for about 2 years already, and I fight for a lot of things in these changes, things I believe in. And sorry, I will not fully be looking at your beautiful faces. I also need to look at my phone. Thank you for your understanding. Now, an example here. I personally fight for homeless people because I was once also a homeless with my family. We had to house hop. We were struggling a lot during COVID times. And because of this experience and how I've met a lot of people who have also been unhoused, I want to help lift up those people. I help give them clothes. I give money whenever I have it, even if I give them like a $50 bill, even if I don't need to, and somebody will be like, you shouldn't be giving them all your money. I will. I do not care. There's always going to be somebody who needs that extra helping hand, and I will always be here to give it to everybody. Another example of things that I believe in is the mental health and school system. When I grew up in the school system, I used to go into school afraid. I would cry every morning. I was too scared of everything. Nobody would help, and all the kids used to make fun of me for who I was. So now I fight to make that change happen and to make the schools a better place. Because I never want another child to ever have to walk into a school with fear again. The same thing goes with the mental health system. If you've ever had to deal with maybe a 5150 or a mental hospital, you know they're not that great. So what I am trying to do is I want to make mental hospitals better for teens, adults, and kids alike. Because sometimes I've noticed that kids and teens alike feel like the mental hospital is more like a prison. And I don't want the thing that's supposed to help them damage them more. That is why I am here to volunteer and help. Changing my topic, pun intended for making change over there. Haha, very funny, thank you. So, people, like I said earlier, doubt that they can help because of a lot of reasons, like money, a small group, or something. They think one person against this big society or big government, they can't do it. Shut up, yes you can. Sorry. So, even though you may feel like you're alone and you can't do it by yourself, take a look at Martin Luther King, who we're honoring today. He went up on his own and made that speech and changed history for the rest of our lives. So, now that we've talked about making change, I'm holding all of you accountable. Surprise! With my lovely assistant McKenna, we will be handing out these lovely postcards here. And because of our pen shortage, you will have to share. Sorry. And basically, what you're going to do is you are going to write one small thing or one big thing, depending, to help make change for your community. Like maybe a small thing, for an example. Give an extra tip to that McDonald's worker you see in the morning when you get your coffee. Or join a volunteer work for something that you may believe in. And what you're going to do is you're going to self-address this, and we're going to hold you even more accountable. And the Auburn Hip Hop Congress will be sending these back to you in your mail in 6 months to make sure that you have at least tried. Even if you aren't able, if you can't make that change this year or this month, this decade, do not worry. You have your whole life ahead of you to make this change, and you will make it happen. If you have something you want to make happen, if you need something to change in your life in general, this is your sign to do that now. Whether you're by yourself, with a group, with your friends or your family, whatever. Just get out there and put your voice out there, shine your light on the other people and make them heard. And now, with speaking of helping in communities, I would like to introduce the next speaker, who has also helped me lift my voice up in this community, Luke Zimmerman with the El Parcas Youth Ministry.
Real fast, is there anybody who didn't get a postcard who would like one? Okay, cool.
All right, thank you, Felix. That was a lovely intro and awesome speech. Thank you, everybody, for inviting me here to speak today. My name is Luke Zimmerman. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm the director of El Parcas Youth Ministry. Thank you. So El Parques Youth Ministry is a faith-based youth group that provides spiritual support and social events and service opportunities to middle school youth, high school youth, and recently we also added a group for young adults ages 18 to 24. That I know of, we are the only spirituality-based youth group under transgender and queer leadership in the immediate area. And if I'm wrong about that, I'd love to know who else is doing it. So growing up here in Auburn, a lot of my friends who I went to school with had this super formative, great experience of going to their church or religious institution's youth group. And that always looked like fun and cool, but I knew it wasn't a place that my values and my family's values and who I was as a young queer person would really be accepted. So when I got the opportunity to start this group, in the name of equity, I think that anything that another young person gets to have access to that can be a positive thing in their life, other people who are usually excluded should also get access to that thing. So we're not exclusively just for LGBT youth or anything like that. Anybody can join, but a large part of our membership comes from that community because we're a safe place, and whether you're a spiritual or religious person or not, you are welcome at our table anytime. So here in Placer County, we meet at Loomis UCC every single Wednesday night. Our middle and high schoolers meet from 5:30 to 7, and we have dinner together every week. And then we do whatever kind of activity or project we're working on at that moment. Sometimes we make art together. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we read books. It's just, whatever we feel like doing that week. And it's always something different. So if you don't like one week's activity, you'll definitely like another one. We also give the youth a lot of opportunities to serve in their communities. We've got a day of service coming up down in Sacramento. We're going to be working in the Safe Harbor Community Garden, doing some planting and building there. And this summer, we're doing a week-long service trip in Rancho Cordova. So that's going to be July 9th through 15th. So that's for middle and high schoolers. And if you really just want to get out into your community as a young person and do some work with some local people who need it and meet some other amazing folks, we'll be working with our hands, we'll be building stuff, we'll be learning skills with tools, hand tools, power tools, all that good stuff, and really feel like you are making a difference and you are helping and doing something. A little further down the hill, we also serve youth in Sacramento through Parkside Community Church and in Elk Grove at Elk Grove UCC. These are all churches in the United Church of Christ, which is an open and affirming progressive Christian denomination. So and then our young adult group is the El Parques Bridge Ministry, and it serves as a bridge between youth ministry and young adulthood, and that's for ages 18 to 24-ish. We're going to an escape room on February 4th. That's going to be a really fun event just to have fun and get to know each other some more. We're also working through a really cool book right now about fighting fear and stepping up and speaking truth to power. So our book club meets next on February 13th at our Sacramento location. And if you want more info about any of our programs, I've got little postcards about both of them. I've got an email list you can join. So you can feel free to find me after this and get all of the info on those things. Or if you don't like coming up to people and asking for stuff, you can find info on our website, which is elparkis, elparkis.com. And our Instagrams at elparkisyouth or at elparkisbridge for our young adult group. That's all I have. Thank you so much for inviting me here this morning.
Thank you, Luke. We love the things that Luke's doing in the community. He comes and talks to my students as well, and just an incredible human to be, reading with you group. So thank you for that. If you did finish your postcard, hold it up, and who of my volunteers, Vanessa will come around and collect that and the pins. The next speaker is another one of my students. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Milo, come on. Milo's going to share some of the experiences that they have, and she has pronouns, yes, and also what a better future looks like. So, sometimes we have to look at what's not working so we can envision the way we want things to be. And I'm so proud of you. Come on up. Hi,
Looking good, Milo.
My name is Milo, and I've never spoken in front of people before, so I'm really, really nervous right now. And I guess I'm going to be talking about my experiences in life. And the question is, have I ever felt fear in my own identity in the society? And really, when haven't I? I am a person of color. I'm trans. I'm gay. This world is really scary, to be honest. And um, some of my family hasn't made that very easy for me over time. I have been shamed for being just even a shade darker than most people. My family, they're not the greatest at being truthful to who they are. And so as I grew up, I wanted to be somebody else. I wanted to be a white person a lot. I remember one of the first things I ever said to my mom when it was relating to racial stuff was, "Why is my skin so dirty? I wish I was beautiful." And it's a terrible thing for a child to think as they're growing up, that they're not beautiful because they don't look like they're from a European country, and that they don't have blue eyes and blonde hair. And yeah, I don't know, it's just been tough. And I still have these problems every once in a while to this day. I still feel like I should be somebody else, and this country doesn't make it very easy for me to be who I am. My own people don't always make it easy for me to be who I am. There's a lot of colorism in my communities, and we're hateful towards each other. And I really just wish that would change. I really wish we could see that we all are beautiful in our own ways, and that we shouldn't have to change for anybody. Another thing I want to discuss is how oftentimes society wants to pit people of color against each other, and how we often are fighting with each other on who is more oppressed and who is more, something like that. Who is more oppressed? We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be coming together with one another and forming communities and homes with each other, and to fight together, because we all go through very similar issues in this society. And yeah, that's basically all I really have to say. And really, I implore everyone to just do more research on each other's communities and learn more about each other's cultures, because it's really important that we know about each other.
That's right.
And that we know what makes us common. Like, there's so much in common with so many cultures. My best friend is black, and we have often, when I talk about our childhood together,
we have discovered that there's way more in common between the African American and Latino communities than there is differences. And I think we should just be friends.
That's right.
I mean, this is our future. It does make me hopeful. I'm so proud of you guys. You did amazing, and you know, some really stepped out of comfort zones today, but they wanted to. I did say you don't have to do this. They wanted to step out of that comfort zone, and I just thank you. I think your words are so important. Okay, so I'm actually going to introduce Pastor Casey Martinez-Tenen to come up and give an update. And I don't even know how to fully introduce you because Casey does everything. So you're the pastor at the Loomis Basin. Okay, and you'll be speaking about landing spot, but his heart of justice is like none other. And I just, you know, being in your presence and what you have provided to communities and young people who don't know that they can still be involved in the church and be who they are, I think is just incredible. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Everybody say, get curious. Get curious. Everybody say, what is it like to be you? We heard this morning from young people who expressed to us what it is like to be them. And we heard from our friend this morning the importance of hearing each other's experiences, honoring those experiences. But we don't change the world unless we ask each other, what is it like to be you? Right? What is it like to be you? I came to Placer County almost 10 years ago. In June of this year, 2023, I arrived in Placer County and I was serving a church doing youth ministry. And shortly after my arrival, all these queer young people started showing up because I was the only safe young queer adult. I was a young adult then, and not anymore. It's okay to laugh. I try. It's either tears or laughter. So we choose laughter. But they showed up to this church because there was no safe place for them. They showed up, and many of them were making life choices that we would not wish for our young people because there was nobody that they were accountable to. For many of these young people, their parents didn't even know that they were out. And so we needed to stop that. So that was the first step. The second step was people coming into my office saying, you know, Pastor Casey, I don't know why you talk about racism because it doesn't exist in Placer County. I am not lying to you. It doesn't exist here. And so I took them to task, this person to task with such comments, and I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to teach our teenagers how to organize. We're going to teach them the skills to hear one another and then to advocate for each other. And so we gathered some teenagers, about 30 young people together. We had some Latino students, we had some queer students, we had some theater kids, we had just this massive group of young people. And we sat them down and we asked them to share with each other, what is it like to be you? And young people started talking, these Latino kids talk about every day. For those of you that don't know, Placer High School, it's open, it's like free range lunch, honey. You can go wherever you want. You can go Taco Tree or whatever's down there. But every day, these young people would be followed by their hall monitors from Placer High School, every day. And they were watched in a way that their peers were not. Our trans kids talk about how every day going into the locker room to change for PE, there were students who would harass them, misgender them, say things like, "What's up, Suicide Squad?" Our athletes heard all of these things, and then they said, what could we do together? So some kids, the Latino kids, would stand outside of the locker room and wait for the trans kids to change and would walk them to their next class and make sure that everything was okay. The trans kids would make sure that during lunch that they were seen with these young people, and they were less, I don't know what. The hall monitors went away. What is it like to be you is the question. And when we can hear each other, the world changes. Beloved friends, I am grateful to be with all of you this morning. And I hope that you continue to ask each other in this room and in our community, what is it like to be you? And only when people can articulate for themselves with dignity and respect what it is that it is like to be them and what they need to thrive, that is how the world changes. So, Landing Spot grew out of this dream, grew out of being with these young people. And we have been working together for 6 years to create safe space for queer youth in Placer County. We do monthly meetings every third Monday at the downtown Roseville Library. We offer dances because you don't get through adolescence until you've had one. And so for many young people, if they don't get those experiences at an early age, they will spend all of their 20s, their 30s, a lifetime trying to figure out what it is to get through adolescence, right? We just last year, for the first time ever, did what we called Camp Fruit Loop. Yes, you can laugh. We did a camp for youth. We had 20 teenagers go with us to Forest Hill. We chose the camp in Forest Hill because that camp had been managed by a trans woman for 20 years in Forest Hill. And so the idea is to help, honestly, Stampedia, you are a gift to this community. And you invited us to rub our hands together to feel the warmth. That is what we're trying to do with young people, is to help them feel that warmth, to feel that security in themselves. Because if they can't get it here, they are going to struggle in the world. And so what we are trying to do with the Landing Spot is equip young people to grow into themselves, to be confident, whole young people through monthly meetings. There's also a parent group, so they meet in separate spaces. It's a great opportunity for parents who are trying to help support their young people or who have lots of questions to get support from other parents, right? Who is a safe pediatrician? How do we talk about name transitions or gender identity with Aunt Clara or whatever from Reno? It's a great place for parents to find that support. The next biggest event that will be happening for us, please keep your eyes and ears open, is, in 2020, when the youth said they wanted to do Camp Fruit Loop, I said, well, that's great, but we need to raise money. And after years of youth ministry, I don't do garage sales and I don't do car washes. So you better figure it out. And they said, what would it be like for us to do a drag show? Yes. And so we did a drag show in my church, March of 2020, the week before the world shut down. And those young people raised $4,000 in one night. That's amazing. That's amazing. Then in 2022, we picked back up. We did a drag show at the McLaughlin studio in Loomis. And now we have been challenged. This is where I need your help. In March, we have decided we packed out my church. We packed out the McLaughlin Theater. And so now my goal is to pack out Sierra College's theater. This is a way for all of us to come together to support these queer youth, to encourage them, and to create, to make a larger Camp Fruit Loop, and a way to create safety in our youth. And so thank you for having me today. Ain't nobody gonna turn us around. Ask your neighbor what it's like to be you, and let's change this community. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hope you're all inspired. I don't know how you can't be. So we are nearing the end. We'll be giving an Auburn Hip Hop Congress update, and then a call to action. Stan and Aunt Maggie and Grandma Betty will, call all the babies up, and That's who we need to do this. We need to change the world for them. They're a little, I don't know where Malcolm is, but you see, I'm not biased towards my parents. Oh, just kidding. He's the best though. So Rocky, I'll just kind of share about Cap the Gaps, which is something that other teams can get involved in, and then I'll let you kind of do the rest. Sound good? Okay. There's a lot. I'm gonna try to keep it pretty brief, but you heard some of my. Actually, I think you heard Felix talk about the Cap the Gaps project. So we got funded through the Elevate Youth California grant. However, McKenna and Bella, who were in the room somewhere, started this project in 2020. We got no grant, but they realized, hey, there's a lot of systems not working. They like school because they went to school here with me, but they're like, what about the kids who are struggling, the kids who are having a hard time in school? How do we improve things for them? Because as we all know, there's many flaws in the design of these systems. It's not blaming, there are individuals, I'm sure, that cause problems, but really it's in the design of the systems. And so we took about a year. The first stage of the project took a year to do 33 video interviews of people, students, parents, teachers, principals, community members, mental health workers, but to really kind of get a feel for what is not universally working. And you'll notice a lot of common themes come up. And it wasn't just the education system, it was also the mental health system. And I think, especially during kind of COVID times, a lot of people did have some experiences in those systems. And anyway, after that year, we identified some common things and put together what I think are some very innovative but realistic projects to start making changes. And this next stage, which we do have support this time, which is awesome, but this next stage is taking those ideas to decision makers. And so we've been doing so much work behind the scenes, and now it's kind of time to share those ideas with people who can make the changes. And if any of you know teams that would be interested in being a part of this project, they are welcome. If they have gripes about the systems, you can say, well, would you like to do something? Come on over, because we're dedicated to ensure that the voices are lifted up, but in a way that can't be ignored. We will ask nicely, but we'll be like, which of these 5 things are you going to do first, for example? So at the end of this event, we will have an opportunity. I know it's kind of been a long day, but if you want to come talk to myself or my students or to Brother Carter about Poor People's Campaign, or discuss, with Casey or Luke, anything that's going on, we encourage that. And if you want to get involved and know more about that, we encourage that. And I'm going to pass this over to Rocky. We do a lot of programs with the Hip Congress, so we'll try to be,
I might just end up listing a couple things. But first off, I just want to thank you all for being here. I'm not supposed to tell my story, but I'm so deeply moved by a lot of the stories I heard today. I just want to share how much it means to me to hear you guys speak so, authentically, vulnerably in front of an audience in Auburn. It just means a lot, and it's something I couldn't envision going up here. I also want to shout out, starting with Natalie, all my heroes that you guys just got to meet coming up on stage, especially including our young people we get to work with. The courage, the commitment, the fresh eyes and the fresh looks at certain things, all of it, it just, it does something to me that continues to motivate me to keep doing the work, whatever the work looks like. So thank you all, and thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for everyone who spoke, shared your testimony, and opportunities for people to really take action, get involved, and to move, even if you're just moving your heart right now. Let's continue to move, All right, so I'm here to tell you a little bit about Auburn Hip Hop Congress. Natalie's been saying it a lot, but we're kind of re-emerging right now. We've been very busy, still in the trenches, working with all the groups and the young people that we've worked with, but not so open in the public and doing public events like this one. So we're really excited in 2023, first off, to change that, to come back, to
to bring back some of what we brought to this community for 13 years. We're very excited for that because everything we've gotten to do and got to introduce in our community means the world to us. Things like Earth Day, things like today, Dr. Martin Luther King Day. We're excited to bring those things back. Maybe some open mics and some opportunities for us to use our voices and to come together more as young people and people in the community, and especially those who didn't always feel like we had space here. So big up and thank you for that. And stay tuned, actually, because there's a lot of more updates and announcements to come and opportunities for us to come together, like I heard talked about so many times. Let's bring together each of these groups to represent Earth Day today and everywhere else, and lift up the voices that we can with these opportunities where we get to speak to the public and influence people, especially with music and art. I'm supposed to talk about Auburn Hip Hop Congress, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to probably, like I said, talk more at the tables and invite you guys to come learn more. But first, I want to, I don't know if I need to introduce him to the stage, but I want to introduce you all to Stephen Payan. He's a member of the Sacramento Poor People's Campaign. He's one of the people in Sacramento that got my attention and got me involved and really got me seeing some of the things I didn't see before and dedicated to some of the causes and boycotts and other things that we can do, you know? So I can't thank him enough. And people like Andy Kahn, who's no longer with us, who would travel out to Auburn to see what we were doing. I just want to lift up their names. But also excitement, because Hip Hop Congress has been busy. We're a national nonprofit organization with international reach. There's great things happening on the national level, locally, regionally, statewide. Hip Hop Congress is working on the first education initiative that will bring hip hop artists into the classroom through the California Department of Education. We're also working on not a union necessarily, but a wage. You know, what do artists deserve to get paid for the work that we bring into the classrooms and the things that we've been doing for 13 years with this little bit of opportunity here and this little bit of opportunity there. We're now represented more. We now have greater funding. We now have a place in our community that's important. So we are going to be able to offer more and lift up more, you know. But with that said, I'm excited to connect national movements like the Poor People's Campaign to Placer County and Auburn. I'm excited to tell you guys that the Sacramento Hip Hop Congress is about to be reborn, and there's new excitement and opportunities that are coming there. And that creates a pipeline that we can only begin to envision for these young people. Because what we've already been able to offer here and what I've gotten to witness in SAC, we've gotten to bring other places too. But with a pipeline like we have, and I'll tell you, the West Coast is strong. We got Portland, we got Seattle, we got Humboldt County, we got the Bay Area, we got Sacramento now. We have these foothills, we have Santa Cruz, we have LA. So when you think about this means opportunities for young people and artists. And when young people and artists, especially with the heart that you got to witness today, come to the stage, we move people. We have the ability to do things that sometimes I come in as an organizer or as somebody that wants to help the Poor People's Campaign, but it's come really clear to me one of the greatest things I have to offer is the ability to network and bring together these organizations and this work being done and support and lift up those like Alma, like Brother Carter, the others that are in these board meetings and these meetings that are endless and tireless, you know what I mean? Lift up their work, help them reach the community, help them reach those that they need. And I think we do that already through our music, just by opening minds, opening hearts, right? But we can also do that through our words, through our actions, the little things and the big. And that's what today has been all about, moving from talk to action. I was not a keynote speaker, so I'm going to jump off here in a second. But I will tell you real quick, we have some amazing programs kicking off again this year. We've been doing writing class off and on, but we're officially relaunching our writing class at a high level. We're also going to be including a lot of this organized community organizing work. So once a month, if you guys are interested, you guys can stay in touch, and we'll use one of our writing classes that we get together every week to be one of that we can continue these conversations, continue to organize, lift up people, and lift up these efforts like the Third Reconstruction, lift up the work that that Placer People of Faith Together is doing, that El Parcas is doing, that Landing Spot is doing, that others are doing, and find our common ground and build, work together, be friends. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm very excited about all the possibilities. If you guys are interested in learning more about SAC Hip Hop Congress, getting involved at all with Hip Hop Congress and any of the things we have coming up this year, please come talk talk to us. If you want to talk about organizing a local committee that works with the SAC committee, with the Poor People's Campaign, there'll be a table for that too. Please come talk to us. If you want to work with our unhoused community and continue to work forward, I know that myself and Alma and others are out there constantly. Pastor Alex, I know many of us are out there constantly advocating and working with them, but all of us can do something. If you have a warm jacket, if you have a warm blanket, if you have something, please stay in contact and bring it to us and we will bring it to them. We are organizing days where others can get involved too, but we'll be out there regardless, trying to serve up some warm food, build relationships, talk to people, and offer anything that we can through donations and mutual aid, while we find common ground to advocate together and to empower them as much as we can as well. So those are all invitations at the end of the event. Come get involved. And anybody else that you heard speak, please take the stage when we get done, and in these tables, let's have some real conversations that work towards something. You know? And again, thank you, Natalie. I cannot tell you how much she put into this event. I cannot tell you how much love went into this event and how much Millie supported us in this process, because you know, we usually have them right by our side to keep us going, but we really needed them this year, and they've been there with us every step of the way. I'm thinking of our others that were, you know, that marched before us. So thank you again. Let's continue this event and every discussion that we started here. Let's continue in our communities and continue to come together and find reasons to. Thank you.
And Rocky, another round of applause for Rocky. Kay and I, this is really do the heart and soul that's put into it. You know, matters. So I'd like to bring up and thank you all for being here. This is really a really special year, and it's so nice to see all of your faces. We do have a beautiful Martin Luther King birthday today. Opportunities to speak, but I want to bring up Santa Dia and Aunt Maggie Brown and Betty to do a closing and bring the babies up, and there we go.
And a quick round of applause for yourself.
We've never marched in the actual road in Auburn. That was something.
Hey, doesn't think about that. Stay on the sidewalk. You want to make it?
Now, when I say heroes, these breathe.
So why don't we stand up, warm your hands, warm your heart, you know, touch somebody. We got to get moving here.
I want to sing you guys a verse of this song that we made during COVID. This song is about this. And then I'm going to ask all the little kids up here, and we're going to sing the warrior song. And the warrior song, I see there's a drum, so whoever brought that drum.
Got a solid picture.
Warriors aren't out making war. Warriors stand for something. Warriors sacrifice. All of you came, it was raining, you stayed the whole time. That's your warrior spirit. And the warrior spirit passes on to all of us. It means that we stand for something above ourselves. We really need to fight for ourselves. When Martin Luther King made that speech on the mountaintop, he knew that was his time. He knew it. He said it. He told all of us. He said, I'm not going to make it. But he said, we will. And we are. And I just text my family today. I said, oh, we wouldn't have existed without Martin Luther King, without all the people here. And we were once all poor. Because, hey, what a good trick everyone pulled on this. That money was worth something. The paper was worth something. But love, our art, our music, our time, that's our riches. That's our riches. So this is everybody. And the words are everybody, everybody, everybody sing and drum and dance. Because dance uplifts us. And heal your soul. And heal your soul.
Beautiful.
We are the dream. We are the dream. We are the dream. Martin Luther King. We are the dream. Martin Luther King.
Let's hold it together. Let's put it together. Let's put your hand
One of these days, I know you're gonna be here there at the bottom. I think people are
Yeah, this is how do you do that? But then we put it on the actual network.
Yeah, that's true.
You have contact.
That's right.
In the words of my teacher, the Dalai Lama, never give up. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it appears to be, no matter what anyone says, never give up. Our struggle is a long struggle. It's a long distance run. It's not just today, it's not just us. And I wanted to, this is a special year. We're passing the baton this year to you, the next generation, all you young people. I can stand here and say, the future is good, I we can celebrate that, and I'm happy to say that's good. Reach our goals. We built the dreams, we made the pathways, and so forth. We're still shocked that there's so much stinking stench in the world. It's just unbelievable. So now it's your turn to go, all of us. Enough words now. Words only amount to something if action is taken. Let's go.
Forward together.
All the things we ask for you and everyone you love. All the things we ask for you during the hardest times. In Creator's name, in your Creator's name, in a good way. And we say, oh.
Oh. When I say forward together, you say not one step back. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
All right, thank you. God bless
Perfect position. Shut up, pass the ball.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I really appreciate you all joining us. I hope you can hear me. But that ends our broadcast for the day and our ceremony. We're going to do a little bit of community organizing and get together at these tables and see what we can move forward. But the work continues, the march continues. I look forward to seeing you all and hearing how you guys, if you guys enjoyed the event, and hearing your guys' feedback. Please feel free to leave comments and share any things that stood out to you or any messages you want us to relay to anyone who spoke today. Peace and blessings. Thank you all. Happy Martin Luther King Day.